What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Laner Geography. We are looking at Document C in our DBQ. Should the United States drill for oil in Alaska's wilderness? Question 1. According to the document, will new oil from ANWR significantly increase the supply or lower the price of domestic oil? Explain why or why not. No. The ANWR reserve would only lower our imports by 4%, basically the oil we're getting from other countries. Not enough to make a real difference in the supply, and gasoline prices actually rose when the Prudhoe Bay field began pumping more domestic oil. That's a little bit different. Typically, in the United States, when we're focusing on using our own oil, gas prices will typically lower and drop, much like we're seeing right now in this quarantine. But they're saying when the Prudhoe Bay, they began pumping more of the domestic oil, the price actually rose, which is a little bit of an anomaly. Question 2. If the U.S. economy were to run only on ANWR oil, how long would that oil supply last? No more than 6 months. So if we were to use only our oil from this area in our country, no foreign oils at all, it would only last us about 6 months, which is not a long time when you think about how long our country's been around and the future. 3. What percent of the world's oil does the U.S. consume? The United States consumes between 25% and 30% of the world's oil production. Let that sink in. Just in the United States, we consume about 25% to 30% of the world's oil production. That's a huge number. You're talking about the world that's got about 8 billion people, and in the United States, we have about 300 and some million people. We're using a lot of the oil in the world. This connects to question 4. What percent of the world's oil does the United States have in its own oil reserves? The United States has less than 3% in its own oil reserves. So let's think about that. In the United States, we have less than 3% of all the oil in the entire world, yet we use between 25% and 30% of the world's oil production. Now, that's a big, drastic number there when you're talking about supply versus consumption. 5. How does the document suggest America solve its energy problem? It gives a few different ideas. Here's a sample answer. The document says the amount of oil that could be taken from ANWR is a drop in the bucket. This means it would have a small influence on our energy problem. The document mentions other energy alternatives. Some of these ideas include solar, wind turbines, geothermal, tidal waves, ethanol extracts from corn, hydroelectric, etc. Coal could be used as well, but this would create a problem with the emissions into the atmosphere. So again, as you're looking through this document, it's kind of showing you some of the downfalls in here from the drilling. Would it solve our energy problem? Would it make life easier here in the United States? That's up for the debate. But in this document, they're giving you a little bit of their viewpoint on how it would affect the United States and our economy.